How's it hanging, YouTube? It's Peter here from Triple J Comics. Welcome to the show. Tonight we're going to be talking about Batman, the new movie that's out. I've got an assembled team of crack YouTubers to talk to about this. Hang on. I've got echo on my phone now as well. Well, we've been having a few slight IT issues, so we'll talk through them when we get to it. But please welcome us and join in my team tonight. So we've got Ephraim from Passport One Comics. Ephraim, how are you doing?
Hey.
We've got Luke from Hydra Collectibles.
Hi guys, hope everyone's well.
Hi Luke, thanks.
Oh, sounds good.
We've got the dynamic duo of James and Jason, who are going to communicate tonight in the form of mime or interpretive dance. Is that right, guys?
We're having a nightmare our end.
Yeah.
It's nice to... Oh, my Lord. And we've got somebody else joining me here. We've got the Riddler himself.
Maria.
Hello. And we've got James.
As if right on cue. Got it back.
Right.
What's going on?
James. Ben, is that duct taped to your head?
It's cling film. Committed to the cause.
Okay.
And I can feel myself internally sweating as we speak.
I would imagine.
But you won't be able to. Oh, damn it! My gloves.
You haven't got your gloves on.
No, that's it. I've been foiled.
Should we start again?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, I got my umbrella, guys. I'm going to go to Gotham after this, so I'm going
Nice.
to.
Nice. He's ready. That is the most flamboyant umbrella I think I've ever seen, Ephraim.
The only one I got. It never rains here, so I just found this one.
Here he goes again. He was telling us, oh, we've lost two of them already.
Oh, I just realised I can do this.
For anybody that's watching, I don't think anybody is, but for anybody that's watching, this has been quite traumatic up till now because we've got lots of IT issues, people dropping in and out, but we're just going to crack on. We're just going to push through. I'm fairly confident that Ben's going to pass out or asphyxiate by the time we're finished here. So, Ben, if you do drop, we'll send help. So anyway, guys, we're here tonight to do... Oh, we're back.
Where's the fucking picture?
Where are we?
Jesus.
Give up.
Look at Jason's face, man. lads, Jason, James, I don't mean to be funny, but you guys have got an Indian book. The way we're going, you're never going to get there. You know what I mean? We need to just crack on.
We'll see you in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for trying.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Right.
So we're here
Well,
tonight
that's
to
good.
talk.
That's good.
Oh. We're here tonight to talk about Batman. Can I just start by saying, have we all seen the film?
Yep.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, marvelous.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, please in the comments in the chat, if anybody's watching, please say what your views are as we go through. I don't think anybody is watching, but never mind. I'm just going to blame it on the internet. So, I've put a few slides together, guys. The way we're going to do tonight, I don't want to kind of go through the film scene by scene, or else we'll be here all night. But we're going to kind of focus on some of the main characters in the main. MJ Comics is for one viewer. That's nice. We're going to kind of go through the main characters, what we thought of their portrayal, the costumes, and all that kind of jazz. So, before we start, we're saying there will be spoilers ahead for anybody that hasn't seen the film, so please do bear that in mind. And I've got a feeling this is going to be an interesting discussion because I think there may be some mixed views. Okay. Before we crack on, before we get into it, guys. Hi, Fuzzy. Before we get into it, guys. Before we got to this movie, we had a whole host of other Batman films. So I'm just interested to know which of those movies has been your favorite Bat film so far. So we'll start with Ephraim. Ephraim, favorite Bat film?
I would have to say the Batman with Joker, Heath Ledger one. That's like my favorite Bat one.
Dark Knight.
That's a classic one. Yep.
Yeah, tremendous movie. James T.
Also, The Dark Knight. It is actually my It was my favorite movie until Winter Soldier came out, and then that was my favorite movie. So second or third favorite movie of all time. Yeah, I mean it's Heath Ledger's Joker is one of the all-time great performances in cinema. I don't think it's hard to beat that, and I think Nolan had an amazing style with that film. So
absolutely, it's tremendous. Luke,
It has to be Batman Returns for me. I think
right.
as far as sequels go, it is amazing. A lot of similar characters to this new movie. A lot of the same villains make an appearance. But yeah, I'll keep my other opinions until later in the show.
and I have to say, for me, an absolutely tremendous portrayal of the Penguin by Danny DeVito. I mean, he's absolutely amazing in that movie. Ben, what am I calling you tonight? Am I calling you Ben, or am I calling you?
You can call me Ben.
Ben. Okay.
Yeah, so for me, look, Batman Returns, I actually credit to being the gateway for me to get into comic books and superheroes, like altogether. I remember watching that in my grandpa's study, and it just blowing my mind. So that'll always hold a special place in my heart. But I still think The Dark Knight is my favorite. And like James, it's kind of up there as one of my favorite films of all time. I tell you what, though, boys, this is close. This is very, very close.
We'll get to that, Ben. We'll go to Jason.
Oh, right. Okay. I've got a little growth on the side of me. I don't know what's going on here.
It's like that scene from Total Recall.
Yeah.
He's got the little thing that.
What's going on here? Okay, guys. I've always been a fan of the Batman movies, even going back to like the Adam West movie, you know, the old shark repellent. But
some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. That's got to be one of the best scenes ever.
Yeah, I know. But for one of the most exciting films, I suppose, and edge of seat stuff, it probably is the Dark Knight. Yeah, for me.
Excellent, tremendous movie. James?
Yeah, same for me. Same pretty much as what James and Ben said. The Dark Knight is one of my favourite movies ever. Probably the best comic book movie going. Yeah. And I'm excited to talk about my thoughts about where this film lies.
Tremendous. Well, then, let's just crack straight on, eh? So the way I want to do tonight, guys, is like I say, we're not going to talk necessarily scene for scene about the movie, but more focus on the actors. But when I was pulling the slides together, I thought I can't not talk about that opening, because for me, that's one of the best openings ever. I thought it was tremendous. The darkness. I mean, I was quite scared at some point, I guess. And then that narrative, when he's talking about, being in the shadows and things like that. So what did we think about those opening 10 minutes or so?
Phenomenal. Like, first off, you get the voiceover. Gave me kind of Watchmen vibes, and that's very comic booky to have him kind of have an inner monologue. And then it coming into like a horror scene, spectacular. And it's like immediately you're just in it.
Absolutely. It straight away felt like a very different kind of Batman movie, I think, didn't it?
Very different. I feel like that opening scene with the Riddler, with the mayor, is probably the reason why it's a fucking 15.
Yeah.
Oh, majorly.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm interested to hear what you think, but I expected this to be dark and gritty. But then when he launches at the mayor and starts hitting them, and it was beyond what I expected in terms of violence.
Yeah.
It was brutal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a bit excited to hear Ben do that scream when he starts hitting.
I'd love to, but unfortunately, with a baby next door, I don't know whether my wife would be thanking me for that.
Yeah. What did you think of the opening, Ben?
Oh my gosh, Peter! Like, just incredible. The poetry of Batman's monologue talking about, being scared of the shadows and what lurks in the shadows, and then seeing Riddler lurk in the shadows.
Yeah.
And the moment the light switched on and Riddler was there, that was a jump scare.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I jumped out of my skin. And I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the brutality of, Riddler with the. Now I know it's a carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For about 6 months, I thought it was a bloody ice pick. That a
Yeah.
ice de-icer anyway. And yeah, I just the whole thing with the crooks being scared of the shadows, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah. I loved it. Efren, what did you think?
Well, when I first started the opening scenes, I go, "This is definitely not a Marvel movie." I mean, it's so dark. I'm curious to see. I mean, I love the opening scene like everybody else, but I'm really curious to see what Marvel does with Moon Knight in comparison to the Dark Knight. How dark and gritty that's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Luke, what were your views on the start?
Yeah, so opening and closing a movie, bookending it with a voiceover is a very brave and bold thing to do, and sometimes it can destroy a movie even before it got started. But this was epic. This was really good, and the whole idea of it slowly, we see these different shadows, and he isn't stepping out, and then to have him step out from that final one and be there, and the fact that we got the footprints first, that we could hear his footsteps
And
before he even came into being. This got me excited. I got myself comfortable in my chair, and I was ready for the rest of the film.
Yeah, I was exactly the same, and I think James kind of hit it on the head for me. It had very much Watchmen vibe, that narrative and things.
Well, it's literally the way that he says the date is exactly the same as Rorschach's journal. October 31st,
And then I don't know if you guys picked it up, just a little Easter egg, but does anybody watch the Titans TV show?
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah. So the kid with half the face was Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, guys, that I really need to solve. So riddle me this. What was the mask that the store robber was wearing? Was it a teardrop? Because I've been scouring the internet to try and find it, because I want to do that cosplay.
It's like that drug, isn't it? The drop.
Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah. It's like a party mask thing, so it's original for the film.
Hopefully at some point some dodgy Chinese website makes them on eBay, because I really want to do that cosplay. I just loved the image of him looking out.
Yeah, he's a drop head, I think is what they call them.
Yeah. I guess. Sorry, Jason, were you going to say something?
I thought it looked like a green pumpkin to me, like a vegetable, misshapen.
Yeah, like a fruit.
I thought lemon drop sweet. I don't know why, but yeah. I guess for me, one of the other things that this opening scene really cemented was, I don't want to say how heavy Batman was, but when he's moving, it wasn't slick. It was like he was laden down with armor. Do you know when he emerges from the steps?
Yeah, well, he's very deliberate in his movements, but also you feel the weight of it, and it's just like thunderous. But the way, that's how he enters almost every scene he's in, is he just steps out of the shadows. It's incredible.
So what is it on his costume that makes that clunking noise? Because with cowboys, it was always the spurs, but he doesn't have those. What is it that's making this noise?
There's about 50 different things it could probably be. Look at him.
I thought it was just all the different panels and, like you say, buckles and all that kind of jazz, kind of clinking together as he walked.
To be fair, though, if it's going to withstand automatic gunfire, it's got to be pretty thick, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for me, this was probably, if I think of all the Batman films, this was probably one of my favorites. Start to the movie, and other than perhaps, or on long line with the first Batman. I love that rooftop scene where Batman first kind of descends in the back, but I thought it was amazing. So moving on then to the actors and the individuals. We're introduced to Batman, played obviously by Robert Patterson. What did we think of his portrayal of the Batman, guys?
Superb. I said it in my review video earlier. He doesn't do a lot of Bruce Wayne. He doesn't do enough Bruce Wayne for us to criticize his Bruce Wayne. Do you know what I mean? And it's a very original version of Bruce Wayne that we're seeing. It's the first time we've kind of properly seen that young, kind of learning on the job still, Batman. But under the cowl, he's just got that mouth and those eyes, but so much is told through just that.
He's
In
dead
every
inside, isn't he?
moment.
That the impression I got was he was just dead inside, and I guess you've
I
commented
didn't
there.
get. I get the opposite.
No,
I felt like all the, things that he's kind of holding back. Like he wants to, shoot that guy or kick him off the roof with Catwoman, but he's holding it back. And I felt all of that.
Yeah, I think you've touched on an interesting point there about this being, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. This being very much the start of Batman, because I found myself a lot of times looking at it thinking he's not as skilled as he should be. He's not as dynamic. It's very, when we get to the fight scenes, which I've got a slide on later on, it's just fight. It's brutal hitting. There's no technique really.
Yeah.
And I had to keep thinking to myself, this is second year of being Batman, so he's not the formed article yet, I guess.
Yeah.
James and Jason, what did you guys think of Robert Patterson as Batman?
I mean, this is probably the first time we've seen Batman cry on screen. Did you see the tears?
Yeah,
I saw.
Yeah.
I thought he was he did a great job. Like Ben said, as Batman, he wasn't. We didn't really see enough Bruce Wayne, but when he was Bruce Wayne, he was using Bruce Wayne as a ways and means to get information.
Yeah,
which I thought was brilliant. But I was really impressed with him.
He didn't have an awful lot of dialogue either, did he? To be fair,
I
but
think this is the most I've ever seen Batman speak in a movie.
yeah.
It's probably the most screen time Batman has had in a movie. I think.
100%. Yeah.
I was going to say there wasn't much Bruce Wayne, was there? There was
No.
a lot.
No.
There was a lot of Batman, which, let's face it, we all want to see Batman. don't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
But I thought he was brilliant at it. I got to admit, I'm one of these guys. I've never been a fan of Robert Pattinson before, really. So I had my doubts coming in and what it'd be like. But I think you've got to go in with an open mind. I know there's a lot of people online saying, "Oh, I'm not going to watch it. A, I'm not a DC fan, and B, I don't like Robert Pattinson." Just give it a go, because honestly, you're missing out.
I think.
I think.
Oh, go on, sorry.
No, sorry, James.
I was just going to say, I think with Robert Patterson, the whole Twilight thing, that being like the very early onset of his career, was stuck with him for a while. And because he's gone away and he's done indie and art house movies, it's completely.
Yeah.
He's become a very good actor.
Yeah. And I guess, just before I move on to Efren for his views, just to get it out there to where I am at this, I enjoyed his portrayal. I think you're right. He acts very well in it. I'm just not as convinced that this was what I wanted from a Batman. He was very emo, I would say. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, because I did. I did like the film, but I don't know. I don't know what it just. There were scenes when he was with the police, and I've always wanted Batman to be intimidating. Just watching Ben get undressed here, and
He literally put film on his head.
yeah.
Sorry, I felt myself overheating. I was like, I can't pass out on this stream.
From what I understand, Ben, cling film in the top of your head helps with overheating a little bit. But don't worry about. So I guess I wanted him to be a bit more intimidating. Now I'm sure some of you will say he was very intimidating, but I kind of got when he was with the cops that very much emo, not making eye contact, softly spoken. It was just a bit strange. Anyway, Efren, what did you think?
Until you guys started mentioning it, I didn't put together that it was a younger Batman, because I don't think there was much separation between Batman and Bruce Wayne. I was expecting more of a Batman, like I think we're used to, like a playboy, debonair type of guy. And I didn't think about it until right now. Like you said, he was a younger Batman, so he's probably still trying to figure out exactly how to separate Batman from Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. James T, thoughts?
Yeah, the second he was cast, I knew he was going to be phenomenal, and I think this is probably my favorite interpretation by an actor of Batman. In terms of like the Bruce Wayne thing, I'm happy to have a more Batman centric film. Yeah. But also, it's reflective of the fact that he doesn't really see a use for Bruce Wayne at this point in his career. He doesn't see why that could be helpful, and we get references to that from the woman that's running for mayor who says, "Oh, why aren't you doing something?" and things like that. So I think in the next one we'll see kind of more of the Wayne stuff, but like
Yeah, it was like the politest "you're a piece of shit" to him ever, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, like just as a starting point, just a phenomenal performance, I thought.
Very good. Luke?
Yeah, this is the problem with going last, because you've all pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. But yeah, this actor has had the weight of the Twilight films on him for so many years now, and this only proves just how good an actor he really is. Yeah. And that obviously came from somewhere else, whether it be a bad script or bad directing or anything like that. But it wasn't necessarily his fault. Over the years, he has proven himself to be a good actor. So I think anyone who's still holding that against him needs to let that go and move on. Yep. That all being said, I am kind of there with you, Peter, in the sense of he was very good in this movie. But if I'm ranking my personal favorite Batman characters or Batman actors, I wouldn't put him at the top.
Yeah. And that's interesting, Luke, because I think I'm the same, but I'm now looking at it on a continuum. So he's probably played a very young Batman very well, whereas Affleck plays the old kind of knackered Batman superbly, I think.
Do you know what? Yeah. If this is a one-off, then it sits a certain way. If this is going to be a trilogy, well, the MCU just spent 3 films giving us the Spider-Man that we wanted. If we end up with the mythical, the legend that is Batman at the end of this trilogy, then it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be amazing, because we've seen how he fumbled, how he fell with certain aspects in this film. And if we see that progression and he gets better within a trilogy, then I'm all for it. I'm here for it. It'll be amazing.
Yeah. But that is the point. That's the point, that's all intentional. He goes for a journey at the beginning of this film, fueled by vengeance. And at the end, he's just saving people. He's not beating up, crooks or whatever. Like he's just saving people from a flood. And I think it's that moment there. And he even says it in the monologue about becoming, like a symbol of hope or whatever, the variation of that. But, that was all intentional. I think that he was supposed to be emo. I mean, he even had the My Chemical Romance makeup.
Oh yeah, and he had the hair covering his eye and everything.
You know what though? I love.
He's not okay.
I love that they kept the makeup on, because so many other Batman films make out that he takes that cowl off and he's completely fine. I love how gritty this was and how realistic it was, especially when he was walking through the club. Yeah, and he had to then go put his outfit on and all that lot. Like the way the makeup was just streaming off his face.
I'm absolutely with you, Luke. I would love to think that the next film we see, he's a bit more refined. His fighting style is a bit different. And then by the time we get to third, we've got that.
I quite like him rough. It's like the Mandalorian, isn't it? Like I quite like him, not being perfect, because I feel like you can see yourself more in characters like that, because they're not that Superman perfect.
I don't want him Superman. I just want him trained. I want him a bit more like the Batfleck takedown scene, which was violent and gritty, but was stylized. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm waiting for.
So my question is, and this might be getting ahead of ourselves. So obviously with the Alfred character, Alfred literally taught him how to fight, taught him how to be Batman. So my question is, does that mean that there isn't the secret cult that he joins where he learns to fight? Was that just for Nolan, or is that still in the comics? Is that still something? Will he now go off and do that and come back a better fighter?
I don't think there'll be a League of Shadows in this. They set it up, didn't they, that Alfred was the security guard of the Waynes. So it makes sense that Alfred just trained him or whatever. No League of Shadows. I can't see Ra's al Ghul coming out of the, pit of eternity with everlasting life.
Sorry.
One where Alfred trains him, because that's quite similar in the story for
Earth 1,
Earth 1. And that's I got lots of themes of Earth 1 in this, to be honest.
Oh, did you? I was going to say, one thing that I was wanting to talk about was, what did everybody think of his voice?
It teeters dangerously close to the Bale, like, where is it? Where is, you know?
Do you think?
He was
At
flirting with that on the
Flirts with it.
interrogation scene. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
nearly.
it's reserved enough for me. Though.
I nearly
I'm quite
can't
happy where it
understand
is.
you.
You see, again, I'm gonna be probably the unpopular person in the room again. I wanted it a bit more gritty at times because at times, like I say, it really was very softly spoken, emo, asking permission. I wanted him to be a bit more forceful at times.
Okay.
But again, like I say, that might
Isn't
come
that
in 2
more
and 3.
intimidating? The man that doesn't speak until he needs to.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it's very soft.
But Ben, I would argue with that. I don't think there was one Gotham police officer who was intimidated by Batman in the entire film. Nobody was scared of him. He wasn't this fierce thing. It was just, here comes the freak in the mask.
That's weird because I felt like this movie kind of captures the impact that Batman has on Gotham more than anything else. With like that opening sequence where it's criminals looking at the shadows and going, "Nah, screw this. I'm going home." You know.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel like that captures that more than anything
also,
else we've seen in films.
Like a whole police station full of the old Bill trying to get one man. Nothing says fear like, 50 people trying to get one man. Like they're scared of him. It's just a different relationship, isn't it, to like the villain? Do you know what, Peter? I'm taking over this stream. You log off.
One thing that I did like was when he made it to the rooftop and we saw the fear. Like he's not there yet. He's not quite ready to do that.
Yeah, he was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to stop it there because we're 26 minutes in and I'm like one slide into 50. So I just wanted to pick up on this. We've seen these images all over and I've assumed that this is the gun. Was that mentioned in the movie or is it the gun or what? I don't know.
No, but I think it's just a lore thing. You know, they're not going to address it specifically, but I think you can assume that it is. Yeah.
So is that what
was
we're
weird?
taking it as?
What was weird with it is that there was one scene where he's putting it back in. We didn't see why he got it out in the first place. So that was a weird edit.
He cut a rope.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. That's all it is then. Just a
knife.
It's a batarang, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a shank.
I'm glad we didn't get an origin story, but I kind of thought we would with that image. Do you know what I mean? I thought they were going to play into why.
We just saw it 2 years ago, and then again 2 years before that. Like, it's really unnecessary. I think we don't need to see the Waynes.
Jason, James, did you guys think it was the gun, or what did you think it was?
No, well, the thing is, he was quite adamant that he doesn't like guns.
Yeah.
He confronted Catwoman, didn't he, a couple of times? No gun.
And Gordon.
So I don't.
Yeah, I'd seen like a theory that it was the gun that killed his parents, but I don't. I mean, it doesn't really look like it. Is that the handle? Is it?
It is. So to me, that if you take away the bladed ends, that's very much the handle of a gun. You've even got. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. You've even got kind of the cock at the back there. You know.
I beg your pardon.
What? Sorry.
Oh, I'm looking at a different image. Sorry. Okie dokie, guys. Moving on. We've already talked about his emo Bruce Wayne.
Peter, I swear to God,
Swear to me!
Isn't it? Yeah, he's at a fucking funeral, isn't he?
Oh my God.
Moving on. Right. Oh my Lord. Riddler, Paul Dano. Now I've not seen him in anything before. This for me was probably what?
You haven't seen Swiss Army Man?
No, I haven't. No.
You haven't seen There Will Be Blood?
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've come into him kind of blind a little bit. For me, this was probably the standout performance of the show. I absolutely loved this. You might argue, is it Riddler? It's a strange portrayal of Riddler, but I thought he was absolutely tremendous. So I'm going to go to Luke first this time, so he gets a chance to talk.
The one that I have the least to say about.
Like he never talks. Like he never gets to say anything.
So
Come on, stop him.
I like the actor. I didn't actually hear that actor was playing the role. The only thing that I knew about the Riddler for this movie was that shot that we had, which was like on the cover of a magazine or something. Yeah. And so I questioned it. I was like, that's a weird look. It's a weird costume. But I was willing to give it a try. I was willing to wait and see. And I once I saw him unmasked, that was the first time I noticed that it was the actor that I knew from all these other movies. So for me, that kind of added an extra layer to it, because I was just as surprised by his reveal as anyone else in the real world.
Yeah. So I didn't know who was playing the actor because I purposefully kept away from spoilers. And halfway through, I don't know what happened. There was a couple of scenes when he was speaking, and I convinced myself it was Jeff Bridges playing him, and there was going to be some bit because his voice was just. He had that kind of. Have you seen True Grit?
Yeah.
He had that twang about him, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Jeff Bridges. That's going to be interesting. And when he took his mask off, I thought, oh, I don't have a clue who that is. So yeah, it was interesting. James, what did you think of him? James
Which
T.
one?
Sorry, am I going to have to say
the problem we have.
James T?
James T. Phenomenal. I think that this is like, it gives me Ledger vibes in the way that it's reinterpreting a character, but does it so effectively and still kind of stays true to who the character is, you know? So like, yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And like, you almost have two different performances here. There's like Riddler in the suit, and then when he takes it off and he's kind of more classic Edward Nygma, and he just goes ballistic. Yeah, it's a very layered performance, but I thought spectacular villain.
Yeah, there was some real kind of weird kind of outbursts of emotion and just general oddness from them, weren't there? So it was really interesting. Ephraim?
See, everybody knows the Riddler's costume in DC comic books, so I was kind of hoping it would. But I know it's a dark movie, so it wasn't going to be the exact same, outfit. If I had never seen Riddler before in comic books, I said this is a great character. But when he took his mask off, like Peter, I had no idea who this guy was. I was like, who is this guy? I thought I was expecting something like, wow, Tim.
What's the point, Ephraim? Who is he?
No, but I mean, as an actor, who is he? I'd never seen him before as an actor. So that kind of was a little bit disappointing for me. But overall, the way he portrayed the Riddler, I thought was excellent. I mean, just an anguished person, just so much anguish and just sadness and his life. I was like, wow, you could really feel it.
And I don't think they actually used the name Edward Nygma in the film.
No,
Nashton. But it is in the comics. They've done like it's kind of both sort of thing in the comics. So.
Ben, dare we ask what you thought?
Oh man. So There Will Be Blood is like legitimately one of, I think, the best acted films like I've ever seen. And I remember seeing his performance in that and just being absolutely blown away and haunted by it. And this is very reminiscent of that performance, the kind of erratic behavior, the kind of internal torture and sadness and everything like that. I kind of love that he was a bit of a sad internet loser. I like, by the way, when they're like, oh, he's got 500 followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking more than me.
And like they were saying it like it was pathetically small.
I know, they
well.
were like, oh, bless him, only 500 followers. I was like, mother, I'm going to bomb the city. But yeah, just unpredictable. And the core of the Riddler is that cunningness and that intelligence, and that's what we got. And yes, it was kind of repackaged in a way, and they did the whole kind of Zodiac kind of tribute or whatever. But I mean, God, he won as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like,
I
couldn't believe the consequences of what he did. Unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, this for me was the Riddler that I've wanted for. Not a Riddler I imagined, because it was very left field, but I feel like it's the Riddler that I've kind of, really wanted to see for years. So, yeah.
Tremendous. James and Jason?
I thought his portrayal was amazing. And the whole feel of it felt more like the film Seven, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That was dark, gritty. And let's face it, he's a serial killer. He's going around picking off people, killing people. What I particularly liked, the fact he was absolutely menacing and horrifying in his outfit. But when you saw him being arrested then for the first time, and you see his face, and it's all built up with tense, I thought that was just as horrifying, just seeing his face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because he wasn't...
That little smile he does when he like...
Yeah, when he's sort of like that...
Yeah, oh, so good.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Really
so good.
amazing.
Yeah, I did like that bit. Yeah. So here's a question, and I don't know if it's just because I'm slow and I was very tired by the time I got to this point in the film.
Probably.
Does he know that Bruce Wayne is Batman?
No.
Yeah, that's what I
So
thought.
it's just out of context to each other that he thinks he knows. And
He-
one thing
Because in the comics he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
yeah,
He didn't
but
tell
then-
anyone.
But then, like in Arkham, for example, it's a thing that he doesn't know, and it kills him, and he's going crazy by the fact that he doesn't
It's
know.
reminiscent of the end of Batman Forever, isn't it? When it's like,
Yeah.
who's Batman? I'm Batman.
Yeah, yeah. But
I was waiting for you to bring up that film, James.
yeah, we were talking earlier about like kind of how like this is sort of a flawed Batman, and like one of my favorite things. It was something I didn't think about until afterwards. That like Batman outright like stops the investigation to protect his own identity in this because he thinks that Riddler knows, and he tells them, "Oh, this is probably it. Let's all go." Whereas if he'd stayed, he would have maybe saved the city from being flooded. Thinking about it afterwards, I was like, amazing.
So I think we can all agree that was a very good performance, and we liked the main villain.
100%.
Alfred. I mean, this was tremendous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Andy, I can't remember, how do you pronounce it? Is it Sykes? Andy Sykes.
Circus.
Circus. He's pretty much phenomenal in pretty much everything he does, but I just thought he was superb in this. So, Efren, come to you first. Any comments on Alfred? We're happy with Alfred?
I like the character. It was a great portrayal. I just don't like the way Batman treated him.
Yeah.
It was like an
Yeah.
I don't really care about him.
Such a meanie.
Yeah.
I was like,
You're not my dad.
Yeah, I was like, total disrespectful.
James, you might almost say that was a little bit eamy, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're not the boss of
Like,
me.
get your own fucking berries.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to give us the shitty cufflinks, are you? That your dad gave him. Yeah, fair enough. Little prick. No, I agree, Ephraim. I think you're right. Mate. Although what I counter with, and I'm sure some of the guys are going to comment, is that was probably one of the most touching Batman and Alfred scenes, I think, when they were in the hospital. When there was that realization.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought Alfred might die.
I did.
During that bit as well.
I thought they'd killed him. Yeah.
I think after the bombing, I think he if the movie would have gone on, I think he would have cared about him more.
Yeah.
You could see when that touching moment in the hospital. But before that, I was like, damn, I like the way he's treating him. Show some respect.
What's nice is it kind of sets up like frail, like your dinner's here, Mr. Wayne, sort of Alfred now.
Efren, I'm just going to say it. I think me and you are probably showing our age a little bit here. Show him some respect. Do you know what I mean? Kids these days.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to say anything about Alfred before we move on?
Just respect. What's we got?
Respecter.
Anybody want to say anything about Alfred before we move on?
If we're gonna get a sequel, I'd like to see some like training and some sparring with between him and Bruce. I think that would be quite cool to see, like some more of that teaching that he's been doing. But you don't have to see it. It's just something nice to look forward to if they do.
One of the things that I think the Gotham TV show did very well was kind of portray Alfred as the ex-military.
I was going to say it felt like the next stage of evolution from that. And Jeremy Irons kind of had elements of that, didn't he, sort of as well?
I think it would be wise for Alfred to invest in some sort of X-ray or metal detector or something like that, just the next time it opens letters.
Yeah, with lights on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the Batman in fireproof. Don't just stop thinking about it.
Light on the back. What's this? Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Peter, don't make sounds like that.
Oh, I tell you what. I was making sounds like that in the cinema as well because it was dark. Absolutely incredible.
Right.
I mean, I just thought her portrayal was phenomenal. I thought the costumes were phenomenal. I just loved her. And I also liked that it was your kind of your Batman Year One, Selena Kyle, who was a bit rough, was a bit, doing perhaps some dodgy jobs and things like that. Yeah. I thought she was tremendous. James and Jason, what did you guys think?
Awesome.
I thought she was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely incredible.
Without sounding sexist, she was beautiful, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There were some scenes with some of the outfits where her waist literally disappeared to a pencil. She's
I know.
so bloody. But then the fighting scenes with her were phenomenal as well. I thought she was brilliant. Luke, what did you think? Oh, sorry, James, cut you off.
That's all right. Go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be controversial here. Like, she's very attractive. She was very good in the role, but for me, like, I need that madness, that scatterbrain of Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, for me, that will always be Catwoman.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't. It's I feel like she could have played any other character. You could have named her anything, and I would have gone with it. But for me, Catwoman needs that more scattiness. And again, I'm a product of those old films.
I was going to say, so
Right.
I'm not a Batman expert, you may have noticed. But the scatterbrain kind of madness, is that not purely of that film?
Yeah, and I think it is. But then I think when we eventually get on to talking about the Penguin, I'm going to feel a similar way there as well. I think that Tim Burton version implanted something inside me that is very hard to break away from.
But to be honest, in terms of characterization of her, it has like a supernatural element because she doesn't. You can't really have 9 lives.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I'm not the expert, but I have read a lot of Batman, and for me, this was a Selina Kyle portrayal that was quite similar to the original Year One and things of the criminal side of things, without that supernatural cat element. She's just a cat thief, burglar, you know. James, you're itching to speak there, James.
Yes.
T, I can see.
So Luke says about I'd rather this be more close to the Michelle Pfeiffer version. I love this version because this is the first time I've seen Catwoman, and she feels like a real person. She's always been this kind of cartoon, like even in the Nolan movies, and that I thought felt kind of out of place with how the realistic take of that world. She always just feels like a cartoon character, and this is the first one that I like. I like Michelle Pfeiffer, I like Anne Hathaway, and I like those characters in the way they fit in those movies. But this is one I can really get behind. A take on this character, and I'm like actively excited to see more of her.
To be fair, I did feel the same about Anne Hathaway again. Like, I watched that, and as nice as she is to look at, as great as she acted in that role, she just wasn't Catwoman for me. So I have the same issue. Like, it's
okay.
Don't worry about sounding sexist, Jason, because Luke's just overtaking you now.
Yeah. She's pretty and all, but like, you know,
I mean,
I'm saying she acted well as well.
Yeah. James T, I noticed you missed the best Catwoman there, which is obviously the very realistic Halle Berry. Not a fan of her portrayal?
No. I remember being pissed at the video game. I got stuck on the first level, and I was like, fuck this.
Why would you even play the video game?
I borrowed it off. I'm happy I didn't pay for it. I borrowed it off a friend, and he didn't want it back.
Efren, any comments on Catwoman?
No, I mean, I like the character. I like the costume. One thing I didn't like, it was her mask. I mean, it looked like a wool cap. I just wish it would have been more Catwoman-like, you know. But hey, I'm nitpicking, you know, on her costume. But that's
Ben's going to have a breakdown in a minute, I think. Ben, I'm going to take it you were a fan.
I don't even know why I came tonight. No, I just. Every role in this was just so well acted, and Zoe Kravitz was just incredible at portraying someone who's had a really, really sad life and kind of trained herself to be sort of this lethal but also manipulative, you know, using her allure and the whole, you know, men saying she's nice to look at and all, like she uses that, you know, against people, and I loved the way it was written. I loved they did a thing as well where she had glitter makeup throughout, and it gave her this impression that she was kind of permanently crying. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into that, but for me it kind of added to the whole feeling of like sad. I was looking at her eyes, damn it. Iconic.
Yeah, I have to say, out of a lot of the characters, I really did like that character. I hear completely what you're saying, Luke. It's very different to the other film versions we've seen, but I did like this take on it. We're going to have to rattle through these a little bit, guys, but we've got then an assembled cast there. Penguin. wow, I mean, unrecognizable, really.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It provided the only comedic moments in the whole film as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was like forced comedic. It was just not that kind of.
Yeah, he's just a scumbag.
When
Do
he
you
was
know
tied
what
up.
So the visual joke of him being tied up and waddling like a penguin, like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
here, like that was brilliant.
He said that.
And he
Was
was,
he called Penguin through?
Yeah, Gordon calls him the Penguin at the first time he's mentioned, and then it's not mentioned again. But it's
And we're going to get a spin-off, I believe. Is that right?
yeah, HBO Max. He's Colin Farrell just signed on, so that'd be exciting. Looking forward to that.
It
If
just
I
didn't look
didn't know,
did it at all.
No.
You would never. I would never know. Like I could have guessed
if I
100
didn't know
times
it
who
was
that
already him, I would
Yeah.
never have. I would never have
Yeah.
worked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was doing my research for this show, I saw something saying that he'd apparently gone for a break, and people hadn't realised that it was.
Your research? Do you mean watching my video?
Oh, I don't watch your videos, Ben. No.
And
it
he went to
was-
Starbucks, wasn't it? Before filming to test it out and see do people think
Yeah.
it's real. Yeah. This needs to win an Oscar for best makeup
Oh, without
because it's the most real. Usually when you see these
For
kind of
best
prosthetics
film,
on
James.
people-
Best film.
Usually when you see these kind of prosthetics, it just takes me out of it, like Looper, for example. But this, I completely bought it.
I'm going to again say something slightly controversial, I guess.
Oh.
I loved him as the character and all the rest of it, but this is a theme that comes in a lot of movie trailers, I think. I wish we hadn't seen quite so much of the big scenes with him in the
Yeah.
trailer, like the car scene with the flip, with Batman walking towards him
Yeah.
and stuff. I kind of wish I hadn't seen that already before going in.
Yep, same.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the whole part of that car chase, though, the best part of it wasn't in the trailer. It's where the Batmobile fires up in the.
Oh,
That's my
Luke,
favorite scene.
We've got
in the whole
we've
movie.
got a slide. Hold it, guys, because I have to say I loved the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Right, guys, the other characters there. We've got obviously,
Carmen Falcone.
Colin Falcone. I'm trying to think of the actor who played him.
John Turturro.
Yeah,
Oh, brilliant.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then we've got Commissioner Gordon. Well, not Commissioner Gordon, sorry, Detective Gordon.
Loved him.
In this,
Captain.
Captain Gordon,
Lieutenant. I believe it was Lieutenant Gordon.
Lieutenant. Yeah.
Oh, the Lieutenant.
Yeah, we'd like slowly put him down the ranks.
Again, three.
Feeling lighter.
I mean, some superb performances there. Very, very good. Anybody got any comments on any of those guys? The one I mentioned.
I think the one I kind of expected a good performance from Jeffrey as Gordon and Colin Farrell as Penguin. I expected that. The one that really surprised me was Falcone, because I didn't know that's quite a big actor to kind of cast in a role that I kind of went into this film thinking it would be like a secondary role, but the way that featured so heavily in the plot by the end of it, and just how much of a bastard he was great. And none of it, he's quite kind of camp, and not camp, but can be quite over the top in some of the films that he's been in, but he just played it so subtly, and it was quite scary, really.
I think they got the kind of the mob element in this film very right. I like that kind of underseed, that kind of stuff. I have to say, I loved. I can't remember what we've agreed on here. Detective Commissioner Captain Gordon, but I do prefer. What you call him? From the
Gary
Dark Knight.
Oldman?
Gary Oldman. I loved Gary Oldman's portrayal.
So again, like Gordon's a character I've never really been that attached to, but I absolutely loved this interpretation. I love the way he calls Batman man. Hey man, that's your thing. And the other thing I liked is that in
So
every
bloody
other
cool.
in every other portrayal I've seen of Gordon, typically him and Batman's relationship is they just exchange information. Like Batman will tell him something or he'll tell Batman something, and then Batman just disappears. Whereas in this, they're like going into a place together. They feel like it feels much more like a partnership. Yeah.
And I love the whole thing that he's really putting his neck on the line, having Batman in these crime scenes, in the police, station and stuff like, and then, that was it was just a really well written,
Good chemistry, wasn't it, as well, between the two of them?
relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, James, I'm going to come to you first.
Same sound you made for Zoe Kravitz.
honestly, I mean, people were asking us to leave by this point. When that Batmobile fires up in all the it's not over the top kind of massively stylized Batman and Robin type Batmobile, is it? It just looks sleek. Like I think someone mentioned earlier, believable is part of the thing of this film. I loved it. James, what did you think? James and Jason.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. American muscle car.
Yeah.
With that engine.
Well, it was like a jet engine on the back.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just looks beautiful. And do you know what I loved as well? Some of the camera angles that we used in that car chase scene. It's stuff you've never seen before. You know, almost like watching a Formula One car, I suppose. Some of those angles and on the side and everything. And very dynamic filmmaking and really exciting car chase.
I think what the best part about it was, like, as we're talking about it now, it is a secondary character. Like, we weren't expecting that to happen. Like, and it was basically just it was just got chill.
It was beautiful. The sound. We watched it in IMAX. You probably watched it in IMAX, guys. Yeah. That thundery bass going right through your stomach.
Actually, Jason, that's a really good prompt for us, because I forgot to mention the score for this movie. That theme for Batman that was repeatedly used was phenomenal.
Used a lot as well. Yeah,
it was
Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was tremendous. Yeah, tremendous. Anyone else got any comments on the car or the tech in this?
So for some reason, and I don't even know why, can't explain it, I flat out nearly started crying when the Batmobile showed up. And I've never had like an attachment to it, but I felt like emotional.
Of all the places to cry during this film,
I have absolutely no idea why, but just when the engine, the camera moves into the shadows and the engine starts revving and you see the kind of flame of the engine. It like felt a bit almost like in Home Alone, the furnace. Yeah. Like it's an intimidating thing, and I can't even explain it, but it was like.
Or in Beauty and the Beast, where the oven comes out.
Yeah. It felt like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, and I don't know why.
Exactly. He's having a moment here, guys, and you're all taking
you're all laughing at me. Yeah, incredible. That's rivals the warehouse scene in
I mean, just to check, are you tearing up now thinking about it? Are you,
yeah. A little bit. I'm welling up.
If Batman can cry, James can cry. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, guys, my dad is a drag racer, and I've grown up watching that, and
that's an awesome thing to just drop.
I just don't care for it. I just don't care for it whatsoever. But when I do go and hear the engines, that's one of the appeals, is like, you know, when they start their engines on the startup line or whatever, and it sounded like, I don't know how they edited the sound or whatever, or if that was the genuine sound of the car. But yeah, like Jason said, you felt it in your loin.
I wonder what it was like if you'd spent the extra money and got those vibrating seat kind of things. I bet that would be a bit of an experience. James, you would have definitely cried there, I think, mate.
Did they give the comic away at IMAX Jones?
Yeah, I didn't get the comic.
I didn't see that. I got the poster.
And I bet people are listing it for hundreds on eBay already.
Yeah. Not hundreds, like I'd say 12,
thousands.
15.
Yeah.
25 quid. Pay me later.
James will sell you his for 120 if you want.
Sweet. Yeah.
756 pounds.
What?
What?
I'm not even. No, there's one for £12.
Bit of a difference, right, guys? So moving on to the action, the violence in this movie. I'll start off by just going back over what I said at the start. Really, is that this for me was incredibly brutal, very vicious, which I guess is what we wanted for a year two Batman. Yeah. I did miss the technique, the skills. I guess it didn't feel like he was very skilled. It felt like he was in a suit of armor and he just waded in and kicked the shit out of people. The action scenes were good. I do feel we'd already seen a lot of them in the trailer, and for me, I still think that Batman takedown scene in Batman versus Superman is the gold standard. That to me was a phenomenal scene, and I'm not sure we hit that in this movie. Efren, come to you. What did you think about the violence?
Well, I would like the grittiness of Batman, his fight scenes. It's more street level. It seems like if you see a fight in the street, that's what it would look like. I would like to know what his armor or his outfit is made out of, though. They never mentioned that, did they? I mean, he took all kinds of bullets.
And I think, that's an interesting point. And I'm interested to hear what the guys say, because this movie spent a lot of time trying to make it look like this Batman could be real. I mean, even down to the fact that when he jumped off, he used one of those flight suits instead of his traditional cape and stuff.
Yeah.
And yet you have that scene where there's machine gun bullets bouncing off him at close range and nothing hits his face and stuff. So I don't know if that felt slightly out of kilter with the realism of it. Ben, you want to tell us I'm wrong?
I don't know anything about guns or anything. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But it's like, okay.
What did you think of the fight scenes, Ben?
I look, you know where I sit on everything, but I love the choices that they made, with the lighting, with it being pitch black and then only lighting up with the light of the guns and everything like that. The club, and that kind of gave me like Blade memories in the club. So I love the choices that they made when there was a fight, and just the brutality of that initial fight, and electrocuting that little face, and
it's interesting you're saying about
brilliant.
the lighting up scene, because that reminded me very much of a film I don't know if you've seen called Equilibrium. Christian Bale.
I've seen that one.
Oh, it's tremendous. There's a scene where he goes into a kind of a black room, and all you see is the muzzle flashes, and him it was quite similar to that. Luke, what did you think of the fight scenes?
Yeah, so I like the brutality of it, like you guys are saying. I also done some research earlier today where I watched a video where a young man was explaining about how he is not yet fueled by his vengeance, that he's letting it consume. I'm not too sure of the channel, not too sure of the name, but I would have loved to have given them a shout out. But yeah,
I just like that you just refer to me as a young man.
You are compared to me.
I'll take it.
But no, I really loved it. The whole fact that you almost get that impression that he's laying them down so hard and pounding them because he knows that if there's any chance of them getting back up, he might lose. Yeah. He's living in that moment, and he's trying to do what he can to make sure that these people don't get back up.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. Jason, James, anything to add on that?
As somebody who, has been in a lot of fights in their life, I thought it was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. I would imagine, James, that you can handle yourself in a fight, and I would imagine you very much...
And
you are?
This guy... Yeah. That's right.
I like this.
To laugh now. You think you're joking? He is 5 for 5.
I like this one scene where he was just beat down and he was exhausted, and I believe he gave himself a shot of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Get back up. I was like, okay.
And he nearly crushes that guy's face.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually adrenaline; it was spinach.
Popeye style. Yeah, I like it.
I need to re-edit that when that comes out with the music.
Tremendous. Okay, guys. So, kind of summing up over the overall, what we thought of the storyline. Some of these images are things that I kind of related to when I was watching it, but also I think the directors come out and said were influences. So I'm just going to come to each of you and get you to tell us what your overall thoughts of the storyline itself was. So we'll start off with Ephraim.
Storyline, I liked it. I thought it was, the grittiness of the whole movie. I really enjoyed it more. I kept on having to tell myself, this is the Dark Knight. It's darkness. Because I was expecting to see light every now and then, some sunshine in part of the movie, but it's the Dark Knight. And I really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, I don't know everything about Batman like other people do, but I mean, it was an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, cool. Jason and James.
What was the question?
Oh, come on. Pay attention. What did you think of the overall storyline?
The storyline for me, and I think I said this to Ben and I said this to you, Jace, the film felt like to me like I was reading a really good comic. Like I'm literally reading The Long Halloween. And as a Batman fan, I don't think it's probably the best Batman story. in film that we've seen.
Yeah,
100%.
it was more detective based, wasn't it? Which is, I think, what a lot of people have been holding out for. I loved it. I thought it was a great story, and like I say, it was a 3-hour film. Didn't feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, and I think like we talked earlier about during the interrogation scene with him and the Riddler, and we all assumed that the Riddler knew who Batman was. Like that like for me, we were like, oh shit. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
I was.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
I was like,
he's looking at the camera, he's thinking, what the fuck is he gonna do? And you're thinking,
yeah.
But like the story was just phenomenal. Did anybody ever get the Hush references?
Yeah.
Matt Reeves has actually come out and said that he would love to potentially
Well,
get that more directly.
The reveal that it wasn't Edward Nigma or Edward Nashton. I actually thought, because the reporter who Falcone killed for Thomas Wayne was something Elliot, and I thought it was going to be the Riddler was going to be Tom.
I'm with you, James. I was there as well. I was expecting. That's why the mask takeoff was such a shock to me, because I thought it was going to be
fucking. It's not Riddler.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, imagine that.
Okay, Luke, what did you think?
So another controversial one. I hope people aren't going to hate me for it, but I only like Batman in the movies. I don't read Batman comics. I haven't read any of these stories that you guys are referencing. I've heard really good things. People have recommended stuff to me, and I will eventually get round to it. But with everything else that I've got coming in that I have to read, it's hard to pinpoint that down and actually go back and read these older stories. All that being said, I really liked the way that this film played out the whole... the fact that the Waynes weren't as clean and proper as people first thought. Because in all the other movies that I've watched of Batman, they are like on a higher level to everyone else. They were perfect. So having not seen anything like that in any comics or anything else, just taking this film at face value, I really thought that was a great move.
Yeah. It added a different element, didn't it? Luke, James T.
What though is it?
Go ahead. No, carry on.
Yeah.
Carry
I
on,
was going
James.
to say, for anybody watching, and obviously,
With a delay.
there's a delay. Sorry.
Continue.
Go
Go ahead.
Continue.
I'll hold on to my thoughts. All right, go on.
If you don't have time to read the graphic novels, the animated DC films of those graphic novels are pretty good.
Except
a great
the
point.
Killing Joke. Just the Killing Joke animated one.
James T.
So, the most interesting for me aspect of the Batman comic books is the mystery aspect. So to see a movie focus so heavily on that, I absolutely love. Now, I think the fact that the end of the mystery is, Falcone owns the cops, is maybe just a little bit like we've seen stuff like that before, so like that wasn't like too interesting. But just there was some good twists and turns in this with the does Riddler know who he is and that kind of stuff. So like it's a movie that keeps you in it, I think, and keeps you invested. And yeah, it does. It feels like 2.5 hours, not 3 hours. So give it credit. But yeah, the story, it's up there, 100%. Yeah.
I wish that Batman and Riddler had actually fought. I know
He just kicked the crap out of him, I think.
probably,
So
but
it wouldn't
I don't
even
know.
be a fight.
Ephraim wants the Riddler like with his cane, like. Like
Exactly.
They do, but with their brains.
Yeah. Ben, dare I ask final thoughts that you thought the story was like?
just fresh and original and just kind of perfectly timed and executed across the board. Like, I think all of the films take inspiration. You can, in every single Batman film, you can say, oh, that's similar to this and that. Long Halloween is one of my favorite comics of all time, by the way, like just comics, not even just Batman. And obviously you saw influences of that, bits of Year One, bits of Earth One, all of that stuff. But ultimately, this was a brand new story and told us kind of new, kind of jigged around relationships and what people did and didn't do and stuff. So, yeah, kudos to them for the bravery to kind of go out there and tell this brand new story.
Tremendous. Right. So, the ending of the film. What did you think about this kind of flooding of Gotham? Am I the only one that, because I've read Catalysm and No Man's Land and all that kind of stuff. I want this to stick around. I would like a Gotham which is cut off from the world and martial law and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we've really seen that particularly well in the movies. Where did you go? Do you expect the next film to have forgotten all this, or would you like to see it continue on?
I really hope it forgets it, because
Really?
for me, Batman is like an urban character, and I really don't like the idea of it being like not post-apocalyptic, but sort of a Gotham in distress kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I like the norm. He's active in the norm, not this kind of like Gotham's in shite. You know.
I think you can strike a balance though, so the aftermath is still there. It's crippled Gotham economically. The buildings look worse, and everything is worse basically because of what happened. But it doesn't necessarily need to still be flooded, and it would be like a computer game where he's like going from skyline to skyline or whatever.
Who'd want to live in Gotham? Come on, I'd leave. I'm out of here.
I've got crime to fight, Efren, so that's where I have to live because it needs me.
James and Jason, what do you think?
Well, the fact that they said the narration, the bookend, it said about is going to martial law. I think that will follow on now, the trilogy. And I think, like I say, Gotham will remain underwater. It's interesting, though, isn't it? That do you feel that? Do you think it would have been possible for Batman to have stopped any of those explosions at all?
Yeah, if he didn't try and protect his identity, he would have solved the whole carpet holder thing quicker.
Yeah, and I wonder if the next film now will play into a little bit of perhaps guilt around that, because I don't know.
I think you're also being a bit harsh though. Like, it still would have been quite an operation to.
He's one man, isn't he? To stop all those bombs. Yeah, and I don't know what I thought about. At the end, he's very much Batman in the light, isn't he? So he's been seen interacting with the public. He's gone from this shadowy kind of figure to.
Yeah, he's focusing more on like being a hope for the people rather than fear for the criminals.
Yeah,
I think what's probably truly heartbreaking is the Riddler's 500 subscribers. Only about 20 of them showed up.
Story of my life, James.
Yeah. And then we get the end credit scene.
Hey, Dublin's own. I love it.
So again, being not negative, but
we got any Irish in the house. James up there, loving life.
Ole.
So I don't know if it was
just
one Guinness. I don't know if it was just again my old eyes or whatever. But I couldn't really make out what I was meant to be looking at. I obviously got from the voice and the narration and what they were saying that it was implied it was the Joker.
Oh, it is.
I couldn't see what it was. At first, I thought it was Two-Face, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're holding on to it because they want to kind of finalize their decision when he has a bigger role in the films. But like, as Barry Keoghan's an actor I've known for a long time. He started off on Irish television. An actor that is always continually impresses me. I think this is phenomenal casting, and I think it's going to the same way Colin Farrell kind of disappeared into the Penguin. He's going to just absolutely kill this.
Are you specifically focusing on Irish actors here? Is this
Well, Colin Farrell, Barry Keoghan. Yeah, Colin Farrell has the same bank as me. I've actually ran into him before in it, so there you go. And I also
there's the claim to fame.
I also, funny enough, ran into Barry Keoghan on a plane. So, yeah, it's a small country.
I'm pretty sure that I've got a lot of celebs that use Nationwide, Barclays, Santander. I I'm excited to see where they go with this. The one thing I would say, and it's probably my only criticism of the whole film, is that I don't feel like it needed to be so obvious. Like I would have been fine with like ha 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 written in blood on the cell next door or something like, and when they did it at the end of Batman Begins and it was just the trading card or whatever, not the trading card, the card,
Joker card,
playing card. So trading card like it's a Bulbasaur or something. But yeah, so I thought it was the one bit that nearly was hammy, but I'm excited to see. It looks like he's just going to be fully deformed. I actually saw an interview with Matt Reeves, and he's come out and said that I think it's going to be like an affiliation that he's had since he was a kid.
Right.
And what we are seeing is not the Joker. Like he's not become the Joker yet.
Yeah.
So
right, I see.
I'm really excited to see where they take that.
It's also the same makeup artist as the Penguin. So
it'll be amazing.
It's going to look incredible, yeah.
They Irish as well, James.
The what?
Is the
Makeup artist? Possibly. I'll double check the last name there.
We don't know where the bank
Winning,
yet,
then
unfortunately.
yes.
We'll find out. I guess my only negativeness about that is, as much as I love the Joker, Batman's got such an array of villains. I think I would have liked to have seen somebody else feature for the next film.
I'm not sure Joker is going to be the main villain in the next one.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon.
I think Kite Man's going to be the villain.
Who?
Kite Man?
Or Condiment King. Maybe he's one of the two.
No, Kite Man.
Kite Man.
What did you say?
Kite Man is
Man.
in the Peacemaker Suicide Squad world now.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so the DCEU has him. He's not in this.
Yeah, the DCEU has him.
They'll leave him over there. Yeah.
But guys, how stoked? What would your reaction have been if it had been Joaquin Phoenix?
I was thinking it would have been like a bomb went off, wouldn't
that
it?
would have been-
Imagine
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Literally amazing, isn't it?
I knew from the moment that when they were saying about Thomas Wayne going for mayor, I was like, it's happening.
Yeah, and his mom.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's happening. Like, and then it didn't happen. Like they said something extra, and it meant that it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, okay.
There's the villain of the sequel there.
Get Arnold back. Get Arnold back. Okay, guys. So, final thoughts on the movie. We'll go around. Give us your quick sum up of what you think the film was in terms of how good it was, and let us know whether this is now your favourite Batman film or not. We'll start with Jason and James.
Yes, it is. It's my favourite Batman film. 10 out of 10. Did they release date to the end credits?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Those bastards.
I know.
And
Got tons, big time.
I heard there's something after the credits. Oh, amazing.
I Googled it first and saw that it was just a web link or something and thought, nah. It was like 1:15 at this point. I thought I can't be true with that.
What do you think of it, James?
funny enough, I actually just watched Jason give it a 10 on IMDb.
I did.
So,
10 out of 10.
I thought the film was incredible. I don't know if it's just, for me, The Dark Knight seems like it's probably... It's for me, it's not better than The Dark Knight. But I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
If I see it again, it could change. It's very close.
This film makes the Nolan films look really highly polished. And this is a much more darker, grittier film.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I love. Stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, which has got like the grittiness from it. You know, these 4K films now, it takes away the atmosphere. But this felt really gritty for me, which I love. So,
I agree, Jason. I agree. Efren?
To me, the favorite Batman movies are the Christian Bale ones, especially the first two. I mean, to me, that's the top ones. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm not a great big Batman fan like some other people are. You know, I really enjoyed it, and I hope there is a trilogy. I like to see more of him and Alfred, their connection. I like to see Lucius Fox come out to see how all the stuff that he brings to him. You know, how it's all created. So, but I really enjoyed the movie, and I hope that I have a quick question. Was it crowded at the movie theater when you guys went to go see it? There was only like about 5 people when I went.
Oh, it was packed.
I was at a sold out preview screening on Thursday night. So yeah.
James, what are your final thoughts on it? James T, that is.
So I would put it like on par with The Dark Knight. I think just purely for Ledger's performance in that, I would maybe give that the slightest edge. But I could definitely see this as a trilogy taking out. Like I think this is a much better movie than both the Nolan movies either side of Dark Knight. But and it probably better than that trilogy as a whole. But yeah, I think the groundwork in this for a sequel is just incredible. And we're going to get a lot more of this with there's several HBO Max series and stuff. It's a universe I can't wait to jump back into.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very
stellar,
good.
absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Luke.
So,
Oh no.
this was a really good film, really enjoyable, but it's not a great film. Like it's not my favorite. It's not one of the greatest films I've ever seen. I love the director. The director has made some of my. Again, I don't want to use the word favorite films, but he's made really great films. Like Planet of the Apes, Let Me In, Cloverfield, all of the like really cool stuff. If I was going to compare it to other recent films that we've seen, this is by far miles better than No Way Home. No Way Home having a wizard where he's trying to help a young kid get into college compared to this doesn't even add up story-wise. So this is a better film than that. However, the whole Batman thing, for me, it's still Batman Returns. And the reason that the best way that I can put my argument forward is that, as you guys know, I love toys, I love statues. If I was going to buy a Batman figure or a Batman statue or Catwoman or Penguin or anyone else, I would want the Batman Returns version.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me feel like the film was great. It was really enjoyable, but it wasn't perfect, at least for me.
Yeah. Okay, good. Ben?
So just to confirm, Luke doesn't like it because it doesn't make good toys. I can't believe
No,
you just
that's not what he said.
I can't believe you just threw Spider-Man under the bus as well. Like
Ben,
that.
did you buy the outfit before you knew who was casting the role? Because what if he was awful?
Oh God.
I knew before I bought the costume. I knew Paul Dano had been announced for a long, long time. So
What are your thoughts on the film,
Put
Ben?
that in your pipe and smoke it. Hey, look. This is up there for me. This is the Dark Knight won't be trumped because I think the Dark Knight balanced some of the superhero tropes that make superhero films so kind of fun and uplifting. It had tiny little bits of that, enough to kind of, you came out the cinema feeling better about life. This, you came out and it was just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted in the best way possible. But it's so dark and it's so gritty and it's so kind of depressing. But it was art at its finest. Just sensational. I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, I can because I made a 10-minute video and then I came on here for an hour and 20 minutes, so I can say enough about it. I've said enough about it now.
Fair enough. So from my point of view, I'm kind of with Luke a little bit. I enjoyed the movie. I will have to go back and watch it a few more times, I think, to probably better appreciate it. For me, probably from a nostalgia point of view, nothing tops Batman 89. I love Jack Nicholson in that. That's the Joker for me. I love Michael Keaton's portrayal of both Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think he nails both of them. This was good, but like I say, I need to watch it a couple more times, I think. Like most of these kind of movies, even when I'm being slightly negative, I'll still definitely go back and see the follow-ups, the sequels, and all that kind of stuff. It just didn't blow us away as I hoped it would blow us away. Okie dokie, guys. Thank you very much for taking part tonight. It's been really interesting. I'd encourage everybody to go and see it. I think feeding back on what Jason said earlier on about people who are refusing to go and see it because of the actor choice or whatever is just crazy. And to be honest, reflecting back on Batman 89, that's exactly what happened with Michael Keaton. Everybody said you'd be a horrific Batman, but he stands out as one of the best from my point of view. So I would encourage everybody to go and watch that. Just a couple of announcements before we kind of close the night off. I just wanted to mention that a number of us on Scream did our own versions of Batman a little while ago. So please go back and check that out. That's live on my channel. There's some very interesting interpretations there. It is my 1 year on YouTube birthday this week, and I have, thank you very much. I have hit 500, so I'm very pleased about that. Please go and check out that video because I'll be doing a draw probably at the weekend, next weekend that is, for the Punchline set. So please go and check that out. Oh dear, look at that wig.
Looks like a Make-A-Wish Foundation picture, doesn't it?
It's tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Yeah, please do go and check out Ben's review where he talks in detail about the movie and about his views in it. It's really worth going to watch. Just to mention, we've got a few shows coming up. We've got What If Turtles on the 22nd. That's going to be a hard one. So we'll see what the guys have got planned for that. That's going to be interesting. And then we've got 29th of March, Our Boys and the Toys, where we're talking about NECA. So I can't wait for that. So, Jason and James, have you guys got much coming up on your channels you want to mention?
You go first.
This Wednesday.
Lovely relationship, this, I have to say. I'm loving the, when we're asking a question, you both kind of look at each other and, it's just nice. It's nice.
It's so sweet.
So this Wednesday at 6 p.m, a video will be dropping. I went to an indoor market and there's like a little collectible stall. It's just a little showcase of that. I met a really nice guy called Rick who owns it, and it's a nice little. I bought a Venom figure.
Ooh, very nice.
£4. But yeah.
Very good.
But yeah.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that. Jason?
So I did some filming today at this comic fair that we went to in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be compiling that and hopefully get it out this week. I've still got my 2,000 subscriber giveaway going on. I've only got to get another 250 people to subscribe to me. We can do it, guys. Let's do it. Just hit that button. Do it.
Jason, 2,000 subscribers is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, that's something you should be incredibly proud of.
Oh,
it's amazing.
You. Really appreciate it. It's a long, hard slog, It is difficult. And,
I'd imagine. Yeah.
You got to keep putting
Telling me.
I think my problem is I don't have enough content because I'm a lazy bastard. I can't be bothered. But still, thank you everyone for watching, and it is really appreciated. Namaste.
Efren, what have you got coming up on your channel?
Just my usual, doing videos with you guys, and I have this one video that I'm editing. I'm debating whether or not to send some of my books to CGC, and I give my reasons why, because all the hiccups that's happening in CGC, the turnaround times are so long, and I was like, and the price increase, and just like to see everybody's comments on that too, whether they're sending their books to CGC or just saying no. I'm holding off.
I'm holding off at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sat on a lot of books and I'm putting fire. Also, just to mention that I've put our video out late afternoon today, which is me and Efren talking about a subject which I know is very close to Ben's heart, which is Star Trek, where we just talk a little bit about the franchise and also what we're excited about. By the way, Picard Season 2, Episode 1 is phenomenal, so go and check that out. James T, anything on your channel coming up?
Yeah, so hopefully soon I'll have a Horizon 2 Forbidden West review up. I've the footage from the game recorded. I have to start writing and editing once actual real life work dies down a little. So in the next couple of weeks, I'd say that'll be up. So.
Tremendous. Excellent. Luke?
Yeah, so I have all the usual. We have Making Sense of Pence, Alls with Flaws, Retro Reads, all the usual comic book stuff. But also, I have just recently uploaded a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers showcase video showing off some of my collection. And I think I'm going to do more of these showcases. I really enjoyed doing it, throwing the video together. So I think they'll go out as bonus videos throughout the week.
That's brilliant, because that Power Rangers video is a real good one. I enjoyed watching that, and I know nothing about Power Rangers, so that was a real good one. Ben, what have we got coming up on the Attention Seeking Geeks channel?
There's reviews, toy unboxings, the usual nonsense. That's it. I don't even know.
Great promotion.
It's creeping me out.
Yeah, tremendous. Right, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Sorry, just to mention, I am expecting a 10-book CBCS signed load coming back from the Hobgoblin's Hideaway this week. So I may do a live show next week or the week after where we do a live unboxing of all of those signed books. If anybody wants to join and anybody wants to watch. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye.